Hi, this is Rob Bowron with Sharp College Football, and today we're going to talk about our team comparison tool that we have on the website. So, like all of our other reports here at Sharp College Football, this is built into Google's Data Studio, which is a free reporting tool that we use to be able to embed our reports on our website. It's handy because it allows us to display off of just importing a couple of CSVs that we take off of the server, display all of our data in a way that's fairly visual and easy to understand. But this report, Google's Data Studio, was not designed to work in the way that this report works. And so it did take some figuring on my part. I have a fairly can-do attitude about getting things to work the way I want them. It did take some figuring. It doesn't, however, mean that it's always intuitive to get it to work the way you want. So the first thing, like a lot of our reports here, is you're going to select a year. So this is, selecting the year that we want to do a comparison on for the teams. In this report year, you are able to select 1 year under the year. Here also, then you can select school, and it's important to have first uncheck, because you can really only want to have 2 schools selected. So let's choose LSU and Clemson and revisit that title game matchup. So LSU would be a little more than a 7.5 point favorite with a 76% win probability versus that Clemson squad. You could see it's the number 1 offense against the number 1 defense. And a lot of the things that LSU does particularly well, Clemson in theory matches up fairly well, but LSU just happens to be so good at explosive drives that Clemson was, even though they were quite good at containing explosive drives, was going to struggle to contain them. As you go through here and you look at the matchup here, Data Studio limits the number of visualizations you can put on a single page. This requires us to create a second page, and like the program dashboard, being able to move from page to page is, you find at the bottom of the iframe. So if you go down here and click on the second page, you get Clemson's offense against LSU's defense. And this is the main sort of trick here. I think where people sometimes run into trouble here is with this report, and I designed it, so it's, designer error, Google Data Studio error, is that they will often then come right back up in here and start to look at another school. Now the report will always pick the top team and the worst team in the set that you have. So if it's one team, if you only have 2 teams selected, it will automatically just display those 2 teams, with the favorite being on the left and the underdog on the right. If you have 3 teams selected, it's going to take the best team of those 3 and put it on the left, and the worst team of those 3 and put it on the right. And you won't see Clemson actually anywhere on here selected. So when you want to start again to look at and load up new teams, you do want to go ahead and reselect all the schools and then unselect all the schools. And I realize that is probably 3 or 4 more steps than you'd like. Ideally, you'd like to have in here, where you could just, drop one filter and pick one school, drop another filter and pick another school. Unfortunately, the Data Studio just isn't set up to handle that type of reporting. So in here then, like let's say we wanted to look at that Rose Bowl matchup from 2019. We would just go and put in Oregon again, or Oregon, and then we would put in Wisconsin. And that gives you the schools. You could also, as a way to accelerate this, if you like, let's say we want to go back, we can pick only LSU, and that will just choose LSU for us as a shorter step. And then we could just go to Clemson and then add Clemson in, and we're back to 2 schools. So that is the quick way to get around in this. Do remember that if you want to see that next page, that you need to scroll down to the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and reselect all of the schools, because in Data Studio, remember that if you have a filter selected, you need to unselect it to go back if you want to go back to the original report load. So this tool allows us to look at if we wanted to compare schools that from different years. So in this case, let's look at 2019 LSU, and let's compare that against 2012. There's a lot of schools with that. There we go. Let's compare that against 2012 Alabama. So here it loads up. LSU would be almost a 7.5-point favorite over that Alabama squad, which was actually a sneaky good Alabama squad, even better than some of their mid-teens title teams because the offense was actually quite good on this Alabama squad. But LSU would have a roughly 74% win probability against that squad. So it is that's how we can compare across years in beta rank on this tool. It, like I said, unfortunately, there are two little tricks to it, in only selecting the two schools and then remembering the navigation at the bottom. As Google Data Studio perhaps rolls out new features, hopefully a feature where they, both for the program dashboard and this, where your navigation is also available at the top, and then maybe we can do multiple selects across, filters, would be quite helpful. But until then, the report does work. You can hit me up with questions at BetaRankFB on Twitter. I'm always happy to help answer questions about the reporting that we have here on Sharp College Football. Thanks.